this is something that crossed my timeline. If we can go to the next one, Samson. And it was just... It was a very strange thread I began to pull on. And it just came out of... as soon as I started looking into it, I realized, this is just emblematic of everything that is wrong with the modern West, in particular Europe, right? And you can see I'm using very strange sources for this, because this wasn't something that sort of hit the mainstream very hard. So, in 2001, as you can see, Danish ships off the coast of Nigeria had an encounter in the Gulf of Guinea, with about 9 pirates on a fairly small boat. Now, you've probably seen the videos of like the Somali pirates, right, taking oil tankers and cargo ships and stuff like that.
Suspected pirates, because
they
were just being there.
There is a reason for suspected pirates, actually.
Sea milling.
They were milling in the sea, actually. That's exactly right. But anyway, you've seen the video of the Somalian pirates, where they just on a fairly small, speedy boat. I don't know anything about boats, so I'm just describing the attributes of it rather than the name of it. They zoom up to a tanker, put ladders up it, climb up it, and then just, I'm the captain now, So that's how these things are done. And the same sort of thing happens in the Gulf of Guinea, around the sort of curve in the other side of Africa. And so this is what happened in this clash. One of the 4 suspected pirates that were captured, so I think there were 9 of them. 4 of them got shot. One of them got away somehow. And 4 of them were captured. One of the 4 captured, after a shootout with Danish troops, has had to have his leg amputated in 2001.
Nasty way to...
Sorry, in 2001 or 2021?
2021. Good spot. I did, yeah. So 3 years ago, right? And this has been going on for 3 years. And so the operation was carried out on the Danish frigate Esbern Snare due to the severity of the wounds to his lower limb, according to a Danish admiral. 4 gunmen were killed and 4 more captured in the incident. Also, there were 8 of them. Oh no, there may have been a 9th person on board, but there's no trace of him been found, so maybe he fell into the sea or something. And the firefight sank the smaller boat, and so the naval personnel had to pick them out of the water and rescue them. And the battle was the first time the alleged pirates had been killed by foreign naval forces. So they were investigating the small boats that had 8 or 9 Nigerians on it, because they seemed very suspicious, because they had ladders and guns, and so, okay, you look like you're a pirate vessel, a modern pirate vessel. Sort of historic pirate vessels are cooler and bigger and have big black sails. Modern pirate vessels are crap, little tin boats with engines on the back.
Rusty.
Yeah, and so the Danish troops fired warning shots, the men into the air, the men started firing at the Danes, and so the Danes started firing back, and it was something that went badly for them. And Danish legal experts, though, the survivors have been charged with attempted murder, but Danish legal experts have said there's a risk that Denmark could fail to secure convictions because it can be difficult to prove piracy. Because, I mean, look, we're just hanging out on the sea with a bunch of guns and a bunch of ladders on our boat, right? That's not a crime, is it? Is that a crime? That's probably not a crime. I mean, it might even be difficult to judge whose jurisdiction this is, right? So, but they were caught, as I said, with ladders on their little boat, and so not entirely sure what to do with this. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. People have ladders here or there.
Yeah, they're just sailing around in the sea off of Africa.
Occasionally, people just happen to manifest.
Yeah, just hanging around
in the middle of the sea or something.
Could happen.
And so anyway, this
they had a good night out. The previous night
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? But who hasn't found themselves in a small boat with a ladder off the coast of Nigeria? But anyway, so this carried on into 2022 when the Danish were basically forced to release them. Sorry, I've got hay fever or something coming on. So the 4 suspected pirates were detained for 6 weeks, and after this period of time, they didn't really know what to do with them. So they essentially kind of released them back into the wild. Because no one would take them. So the Danish, I'm not joking, this is changing what they did. The Danish armed forces had failed to find a country in the region which would take the alleged pirates. So the decision was taken to release the men near Nigerian waters with enough food and fuel to get to shore.
It's literally how if you discover a sort of a wounded pigeon,
I
a
literally
wood
do this
pigeon
all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've got 5 cats, and so they're forever bringing shrews or mice or
Yeah.
birds.
Nurse them back to health.
Oh, I
for a little
don't.
bit
My
and-
wife would love to, but I'm like,
Oh, I see. You just throw them back out.
yeah.
They couldn't prove that they were members of the pirate guild. They didn't have the Roger Molly flag.
I treat these animals just like Nigerian pirates and just release them back into the wild. So they put them on a dinghy with enough food and fuel to get to the shore, and so it's like, right, okay, I get they're not our problem anymore. But the guy who lost his leg, they were like, oh, we can't just leave him on the boat, can we? You know, that'd be a bit unfair, wouldn't it? You know, this guy can't swim or walk, so
Also, if he has some blood, maybe some sharks would like it.
well, no, this was like 6 weeks later, so I think the wounds would have healed up at least somewhat, but so one of the suspects was taken to Ghana where his leg was amputated, was transferred to Denmark instead to face a charge of attempted manslaughter, because we can't just leave him in the sea, but then he's a pirate, so we can't just, we've got to give him a...
Diversity.
Yeah, we've got to give him a trial, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the Danish Justice Ministry said they did not feel it was possible to safely release him at sea. The safety of the pirates is now our concern. Okay, great. And the lawyer of the pirate, because of course he's entitled to a lawyer, well, every pirate's got a lawyer, says, it just can't be right to treat the 4 people so unequally. So, well, maybe we should have put them in the boat then, equal treatment. But the Justice Minister of Denmark said, no, it's it's fine. Maybe it'll deter other pirate attacks, things like that. And so they extradited this guy back to Denmark. Again, no one would claim him, so he doesn't have any particular support there. And the BBC do point out in this that this is actually fairly common, not one-legged pirates, but piracy itself. Because the Gulf of Guinea often has tankers with oil and gas travelling through it, and so it's a piracy hotspot, which is, of course, why Danish troops were there in the first place. Political instability, lack of law enforcement, and poverty on the land are other factors which contribute to the increased amount of piracy in the area. So he goes back to Denmark, and in Denmark, they basically say, yeah, no, we're not going to charge you with anything. So, okay, but, I mean,
It's an occupational hazard.
yeah, maybe. So you've got a one-legged pirate in a Danish court. He's got then. I mean, I just want to be clear. Only 100 years ago, the punishment for piracy was hanging. Right now, it's give them money. Now it's
Buy rum.
maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he drinks rum. Who knows? But yeah. So the prosecutors were like, well, he should be in prison for at least a year, right? And expulsion from Denmark for 12 years. And the judge presiding over the case decided, no. Actually, the verdict is that he won't be prosecuted, and we're not going to really do anything because apparently they claim he didn't fire any shots himself. So okay, well. Maybe, fair enough. And so instead, he now gets to just live in Denmark. He's just a Danish citizen now. Oh no, he's not actually a citizen, but he has an extended permit.
Definite right to remain.
Residence, yeah, right to remain, which is just crazy. So you can try and steal an oil tanker in the Gulf of Guinea and end up getting free money from the Danish government.
Don't even need to go to the trouble of paying people smugglers. I mean, let's hope word of this doesn't get out too much, because then you'll just get because for a time the Mediterranean might seem it's very quiet, but
yeah.
the Gulf of Guinea is just teeming.
Well, interestingly, the pirate's name was Lucky.
Yeah, well,
of course it was, because but yeah, no. So he's
Lucky Jones.
he was claiming asylum in Denmark, and they said, yeah, I guess you probably are a legitimate asylum seeker.
distinctly unheroic, isn't it?
But you're a pirate.
I know.
You're a criminal. What are you talking about? He's not an asylum seeker. He's the reason that people seek asylum from people like him.
Yes.
Like, are you kidding me? But okay, fine. I mean, would just look at him and go, well, I mean, look at him.
It's like, look at me. I have one leg now.
Yeah, exactly. I lost the leg. How'd you lose it? Well, it wasn't a shootout. I was committing piracy, actually, is how I lost my leg. But Nigerian pirate Lucky, who lost his leg, has been granted Danish residency. The one-legged Nigerian does not want to talk to the press, but his lawyer said that he confirms he's been granted the permit and says, I can say that he is happy with the decision, even though he had actually seen that there was no attention at all about it. He just wants to look forward. So he just wants to put it behind him become a regular member of Danish society, get a job probably.
Did they give him a pension or something?
Well, he's going to be able to claim disabilities, and he's obviously able to claim any money that the Danish asylum system gives him. So okay, that's interesting. So 3 pirates have been left to fend for themselves, probably out. I'm sure they've reformed themselves. I'm sure they haven't just gone straight back to a life of piracy, and they've taken one pirate back as a kind of pet. Like here's look at our one-legged pirate.
Isn't he
What,
cute?
what are you doing?
This is one of this is clearly a very odd, eccentric, and exceptional case, and that's why we're covering it. But it's there's something so unheroic about unarmed conquest as opposed to just active conquest. I actually respect it more in a way.
Oh, 100%.
If you're just going to try and invade Europe by force in the way that the Saracens would have tried, or in the way that former Muslim conquerors would have tried to do. I know this chap maybe isn't a Muslim, but to illustrate the point, unarmed conquest is just so unheroic, and it puts the society which is defending itself in a very unheroic position as well. Because at least when you have, the barbarians actively at your gate with spears, with infantry divisions, you can fight back, presumably with the consent of your own elite on your side. Yeah. Whereas in this case, it just gets entangled in our pathological altruism comes into its own. Their sort of parasitic attitude to us comes into its own. It's just like it's not like an eagle versus a lion. It's a sort of crippled civilization succumbing to stomach worms. It's just so squalid and unheroic.
It is ignoble.
Yes,
yeah, it's very ignoble. Because it's like he now has to be like, yeah, well, I'm pathetic, and we have to be like, yeah, we take pity on pathetic things,
and we're pathetic as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're not prepared to punish you with your own decisions. It's not that you've done something wrong, even if you have. We're just going to give you some of our money now because we feel bad that you exist. It's all so gross.
I think somehow the state is treated like a god.
Yeah.
Infinite power, infinite mercy, and that no one will suffer consequences.
Yeah, I mean, in
ridiculous
Genealogy of Morals, Nietzsche makes some great points about this. About the strong society thinks that it can just accept parasites and say, well, the punishment itself becomes cruel to the parasites, and so we'll just take as many one-legged pirates as they come. I mean, we're just going to keep taking until eventually the society itself collapses. It's like, okay, but like you say, it's very, very pathetic. If it was an army, then okay, we lost to an army. Fair enough. That's noble. That's it was the appeal to heaven, and we were on the wrong side of it. Okay, I accept it. But this is just sad.
And it's the same. It's particularly pronounced with Muslims in Britain as well, or sort of militant Muslims in Britain who kind of hang around Speaker's Corner. Like their Muslim forebears were conquerors. They fought actively. These guys are bitching their way to the caliphate.
Yeah.
It's
very,
not,
very feminine. Isn't it?
very feminine.
So they, exactly. Saladin would be like, so what do you do? It's like, well, I'm a dependent of the British state, and I complain at them until they give me something.
Exactly.
And Saladin wouldn't be very impressed.
No, we're not talking about the pirate, are we?
No. Just the general unarmed conquest in general, in all its manifold forms. And I've discovered another one
as he
today.
was climbing up the stairs, the ladder.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lucky at the moment is currently in Denmark. He's currently receiving benefits, I don't doubt. And even the Social Democrat Prime Minister of Denmark is like, what the hell is going on here?
Even the pantsuit deportation lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Excuse me. I don't know much about Danish politics, but I'm aware that she's not a hard right figure.
Yeah.
But if you know anything, do let me know.
I have the impression that someone tried to...
Sorry. That headline.
I have the impression that she survived an assassination attempt.
Did she?
Let me check.
Not by the pirate, right?
No.
what a lack of gratitude, yeah.
Davy Jones came out of the ship.
But she's not happy with this. She says, I cannot defend this decision, said Prime Minister Mitt Frederiksen. He doesn't belong here. If he's here, it's solely because of international obligations. At least someone's calling it like it is. But the point being, there was nothing forcing Denmark to take this guy. I mean, they literally released his 3 mates back into the like literally releasing them back into the wild, like wounded animals. Like, there was nothing forcing them to do it, and so somehow now he's just living in a house in Denmark at the behest of the Danish taxpayer, all because he was trying to be a pirate.
I found it. She was attacked in June the 7th. By someone on the street.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's the curious case of the one-legged Nigerian pirate. Turns out that piracy pays if you're doing it against the Danes, and probably the rest of Europe, to be honest. But obviously this isn't an endorsement. I'm much more imperial when it comes to how we should punish pirates.
I hope you appreciated that segment from the podcast to the Lotus Eaters, and if you want to see what else we're doing, you can follow Connor's series, Tomlinson Talks, where he talks about the Reform Party conference, and if you want to see all the other things we're putting out, you can follow us on Twitter. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.